Hello, my name is Mark Maeda,
And I'm Vlad Kazanji.
and this is our presentation on goal-based approaches.
We'll be discussing how this technique is different than others and what a goal-based approach is. We will also show a few examples of it, its pros and cons, when it should be used, and how it applies to our Pantry app. According to many studies, most of the requirements prioritization techniques still suffer from different shortcomings. None of the RP techniques can be considered the best. The best RP technique depends on the situation. The major drawback of traditional approaches is that they lead to systems technically good, but unable to respond to the needs of users in an appropriate manner. A requirement misunderstanding is a major cause of system failure. For example, a survey of 800 projects undertaken by 350 US companies revealed that one-third of the projects were never completed and one-half succeeded only partially. Poor requirements were identified as the main source of problems. A goal-based approach has a fundamental difference. High-level goals represent objectives of different stakeholders or target users. They are decomposed by using and/or relationships. They are also elaborated with why and how questioning into sub-goals. High-level goals are then further refined in such a way that individual requirements are achieved. Goals are useful abstraction to represent stakeholders' needs and expectations, and they offer a very intuitive way to elicit and analyze requirements. In this figure, it shows a museum guide mobile app plan implemented through one of the goal-based approach models called Tropos. Tropos projects the system as a set of interdependent actors. Each actor has its own strategic interests. These goals are analyzed in a top-down manner to identify more specific sub-goals needed to reach the upper-level goals. For example, Bank of America applied a goal-based approach in its investment programs. Since 2012, more than 150,000 clients have participated in goal-based discussions. As of December 31, 2016, clients of Bank of America's investment businesses had more than $11.3 billion in assets with clearly defined personal goals.
The upsides of goal-based approaches to requirement elicitation are that they help to capture the needs and expectations of the stakeholders. This means that they help to ensure that everyone is on the same page about exactly what the final project should look like and how to accomplish it. They help people to understand why a project should be developed or conversely why it should not. As you break down your higher level goals into smaller goals, you may realize that what you're doing may not be totally necessary or may already exist. Goal-based approaches help you to elicit further requirements which you may not have realized were there until you took a closer look at what your app was trying to accomplish. They help to make something of a checklist about what you hope your app will accomplish. And finally, goal-based approaches provide greater detail about the problem to be solved and possible solutions. This is a natural reaction to making a closer inspection of your objectives.
There are several downsides of this method. First, the result of goal-based processes is significantly more complicated than the traditional methods. Second, errors in the high-level goals that are made early can have a major influence in the future. After that, changing goals is difficult to manage. Third, it's difficult even for experts to deal with the abstract concept of a goal. Fourth, starting from faulty goals may lead to ineffective requirements. So finding the right goal is not an easy task. Fifth, it's difficult to discover the component goals of a goal, and it's not nearly as straightforward as literature suggests. Additional help is needed to achieve meaningful goal modeling. Lastly, the user initial goal statement is usually quite imprecise and can be interpreted in many ways.
Goal-based approaches are especially useful early in the requirement elicitation process. This is because examination of goals often leads to change in goals, which is more difficult as the project progresses. Goal-based approaches are also ideal when only high-level goals of the project are known. Examining your high-level goals will naturally lead to lower-level goals through a series of why and how questions. Similarly, if there is ever any confusion about how any higher-level goal is to be accomplished, goal-based approaches are ideal. As mentioned before, changing goal is more difficult as the project progresses, so goal-based approaches should be avoided late in the development process. It is also not ideal to use goal-based approaches when all goal objectives in a project are well known. This is mostly because goal-based approaches are primarily used to define and refine a project's objectives, and if they are already well known, it may be best to leave them alone. From the data we gathered, we found that our project's high-level goal is to make an app where a user can track the contents of their pantry or food storage. The high-level goal is broken down into the lower-level goals of data storage, data collection, alerts, data removal, recipe tracking, shopping list creation, and grocery store tracking. The goals of our project are laid out in this chart. I had to use horizontal orientation to make everything fit, but these are typically vertically oriented. As I mentioned earlier, our high-level goal is to make an app where a user can track the contents of their pantry. Our first lower-level goal is data storage. We want our app to store the quantity and expiration dates of everything we have in our pantry. That goal is further broken up by making it the goal to collect data through barcode reading and manual input, alerting users when quantity is low and when there is an upcoming expiration date, and removing data through manual removal and automatic removal when there is an expiration date that is passed. An additional goal of our app is to track recipes. This goal continues to be broken down into the ability to add and remove recipes, and then to add functionality to show the user what recipes are available with the current stock of the pantry, and generate shopping lists based on what is needed to complete a recipe. After that, there is an even lower level goal where we hope to add the ability for the app to show where the user can go to purchase these items, and this is accomplished with the use of location tracking and local store interface.
Thanks for your time in watching this presentation. We hope you now better understand goal-based approaches.